So today we're gonna have our first deck in the Tour of Vintage series. I picked Hollowvine. That is a deck close to my heart and a deck that I'm quite familiar with. The goal is on this series is to take current metagame decks in Vintage and run them through a series of leagues. Do Dech Tech, understand what each card is doing on the deck in the beginning, sideboard considerations, etc. versus current meta, then run the decks through a league, commenting along the way, and finally give a small resume at the end of how the deck performed and if I would do any changes. So tonight we're going to be focusing on Hollowvine. So Hollowvine is a bizarre deck, so it uses the graveyard to basically put these creatures, Vengevines, in the graveyard, and then try to cheat them out quickly by casting free spells, basically. Blazing and Basking Root Wallet for Madness 0 that can be discarded, and then also free hollow ones. The way that we can achieve this is by playing the vintage card Bazaar of Baghdad. And Bazaar of Baghdad basically reads, you draw 2 cards, then discard 3 cards. Since you are discarding spells and then casting them from Madness, so the disadvantage of Bazaar Baghdad is mitigated. And since you are discarding 3 cards with 1 Bazaar activation, you're able to cast hollow ones for free. In order to find the Bazaar, since this deck doesn't really use mana in a conventional way, we're casting mostly free spells. We have 4 copies of Serum Powder in the deck. That gives us roughly an 85% chance of getting a Bazaar, having 7 cards in hand. In addition to Bazaar, it plays a suit of land destruction with 4 wastelands and 1 strip mine. Gonna play the mana denial on the opponent, slow him down while our creatures act in the beatdown row. And finally we have Gaia's Cradle in order to pump our Root Wallets or being able to cast any of our other spells, green spells, on a pinch. Gaia's Cradle is also useful for pay tax effects or Tabernacle effects. In order to recoup the card disadvantage of Bazaar Baghdad, this deck also plays 4 Squeeze, Goblin Above, that come to your hand if they're in the graveyard at the beginning of your upkeep. And they also play a new edition from Modern Horizons 2, Master of Death, which acts as a second copy of Squee, coming to your hand if you pay 1 life. This deck is also playing a full counterspell suite of 4 Force of Negations, 4 Force of Wills, 1 Mental Misstep, and 3 Mindbreak Traps. The Master of Deaths can also be used for pitching for the 2 Force spells. And then, in order to protect us or have a little more edge against some creature-based decks, we have a Fury in the main board as well, and the Chalice of the Void, usually cast for 0. The last cards I haven't talked about are Force of Vigor, in order to get rid of pesky artifacts, Urza's Saga, etc. And 3 Noxious Revival, in case our Bazaar gets wastelanded, we can get it back into play. This deck was basically an evolution of the pre-Modern Horizons 2 deck that used Krovikan Hoarders instead of Master of Death, basically to get a second, or copies 5 to 8 of Squee, albeit it was a bit more cumbersome to get it to function because it depended on the graveyard ordering. but the addition of Master of Death and Blazing Rituala from Modern Horizons 2 made the deck a lot more consistent. The popular pilots of this deck, I guess I can refer No Props, putting some good results, playing a variation of this deck now without the Leyline of the Void. They seem to be quite more inclined to play Ravenous Trap and Surgical Extraction in the sideboard. And Winged Hussar also been putting consistent results with this deck. In addition, Montalio, I recommend, all of them have videos available probably that you can check if you want to see better players than me playing this deck. I haven't gone through the sideboard. I'm playing a suit of Graveyard Hate with 1 Surgical Extraction and 4 Leyline of the Void. The Surgical Extraction is actually a stand-in for a second Endurance that now is up almost 70 ticks, so I didn't have enough ticks to rent this deck. Endurance is quite an interesting card because it both slows down the opponent's graveyard plan and triggers Vengevines on a pinch. The same can be said to Fury, which is a great card to get rid of small creatures on the opposing side to go through damage, or being able to also activate Vengevines on the pitch. I'm only playing 1 Fury main board as well because it gets a bit awkward, especially when you have to pitch, for example, a Squee to cast Fury, and then you're basically your card draw engine is basically a little bit affected. Due to the resurgence of Sphinx of the Stillwind and Tinker decks, PO, Tinker, etc., they kind of started playing main deck Sphinx. Therefore, we have 2 copies of Snapback on the sideboard to bring in. We have Caracas for opposing Lavinia or for Oath decks. We have a Petrified Field, which acts as a free Noxious Revival copy coming from the sideboard and is able to pay also for tax effects. And then we have 2 Riftstone Portals, which are quite useful against opposing Tabernacle effects, because you're able to play for at least a creature with your Bazaar, and sometimes that is enough to just overpower the opponent. So I was saying that regarding the sideboard choices, the number of Furies that you have, the number of Vengevines you have on your main deck, the number of Mindbreak traps even, you can go up to 4, is quite meta dependent. Playing Endurance is also quite meta dependent. Leyline versus Ravenous Trap Surgical, for example, is up to preferences, your own preference. I like to play Leyline of the Void because it gives me a free effect, and I basically can pitch extra Leylines that I draw off the top. In addition, it is not counterable, just like Ravenous Trap and Surgical Extraction, which is a plus against, for example, Breach decks, although they're not very popular at the moment. Yeah. So this deck is very vulnerable for not having a Bazaar on your opening hand, so usually it has to mull very aggressively per Bazaar, although not as aggressively as Dredge. But there's very few situations where I would keep a hand without a Bazaar, and we might go through a few of them on the playthrough. The deck is quite strong against combo, although the appearance of Urza's Saga gives combo another dimension that this deck has to, for example, incorporate main deck Force of Figures to combat. We're also only creating creatures that are at most 4-powered, so the deck does have a problem against, for example, a bug player that resolves Tarmogoyf or something. There's no way that we can clear that creature out of the way and being able to push through damage. The deck has been quite popular lately, so this means that everyone is prepared for the deck. So we might have a difficult time, but let's start then. Okay, so we're being told that probably we're playing against Dredge, or at least 12 days ago this player was on Dredge. I don't really have much against Dredge main deck, so I just have to mulligan until I find my Bazaar and hope for the best. Did not find a Bazaar. Now I have a Serum Powder. The way that Serum Powder works is that if you had a mulligan, one mulligan, or for each mulligan you've had so far, you put one card for each mulligan on the bottom of your library, and then you exile your hand and draw cards equal to the number of cards that you have after you put the cards on the bottom of your library. So if the opponent is on Dredge, I don't think the force and negations are very useful for me, but I do think the Wasteland might be the most interesting card here, just to try to fight him off a little bit. So I'm gonna put my Wasteland down, just edging that he's on Dredge. If he wasn't known, I would probably just put the Vengevine. Okay, now I found a Bazaar. I have a force that might counter one of his Hollowvines coming down, and I have 2 cards to put in my graveyard, in addition to the Vengevine. Would be nice to have 2 creatures off the top, 2 Wallas, or a Walla, and so he's definitely on Dredge. He's exiling, finding his Bazaars. He kept the 6-hander. I'm just gonna keep this here just to keep in touch. So he has 2 Dredgers and 1 Wooden Bridge out. So let's just start activating Bazaar. Oh, fantastic. So now I can get my Vengevine out this turn, and I'm gonna pitch the Vengevine, the Walla, so I can cast it for Madness, and my Squee. I'll keep the Master of Death just in case I have to pitch it, even though I'll likely just pitch the Force of Will. And then I'll cast Hollowvine. If he tries to fight for it, or if he tries to counter my Hollowvine, it's likely that I force his counter, because I need to put a clock on him fast. It did not force. Okay. That was a good start, but Dredge is very explosive, so this is his exile. I don't really care about that anymore. Now he's a Bazaar. I have no Wasteland. Let's see how many Dredgers he puts in. So he has the Dredger. Should try to find a Wasteland. So let's activate our Bazaar. No Wasteland, but I do have a second Bazaar. Which I'm probably activating now. He has not played the Hollowvine. So let's try to go for a second Bazaar. So I'm gonna pitch these 3 cards and try to overpower him. Fortunately, I have to go all in. So he's gonna Dredge now. Probably get his Icarid up. No. Or it hasn't decided yet. Got a Cripping Chill. Dredged. You got a second Icarid. No Dredger, so might discard one now. Got a Golgari Tug. Okay. The Cripping Chill made it a little bit more difficult for me now. He has no bridges, so that is very good for me. Oh, now he has a bridge, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to block with my Blazing Root Walla. Get rid of the bridge. No other Dredgers. It's fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so all my cards are gonna come to hand now. Let's just do this. Yes. 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 What do we have now? Another Bazaar. Okay, let's just spin the wheels. I got a Vengevine, a Wasteland, which is great. So what do I have? I don't need the third Bazaar, so I'll just activate it once again. I got a second Master of Death. So I think I'll just keep the Force of Vigor just in case he has a hollow one coming through. No, he has two in the yard already. He has two in the yard. So maybe I'll just drop these. Attack now. And then he has to block one of my big ones. Maybe I'll just leave the Basking Root Walla behind. So I'll try to exile his bridge. So then I get 5 in. No, I have to attack 8. This is lethal. I need to get him. He has no dredgers in the yard. So I'm gonna try to just get his Bazaar out. Okay. Sounds good. So I exile his bridge now. Very good for me. He does have a Force of Vigor. Do I let this go? No. I think at this point I'll just force a negation. Then I'll just Wasteland him now. What did he exile? A Shambling Shell, probably. Yeah, okay. I can't counter any Noxious Revival. He doesn't have one. Okay. Narcomoeba. What did he have? Oh, he Dark Musharovich. Yeah, okay. Okay. So, unless he has something else. Oh, he does have the Bloodghasts. Okay. I'll just pass with f6. So he can't block, can't block. He's gonna have to sacrifice that. So it was good that he blocked the walla, so I got to exile his bridge. Okay, so right now, Dredge, I want to bring at least this package. I'm definitely taking out Chalice, Mindbreak Trap, and Mental Misstep. Bring these in, and then I think I like a Fury or two, just to be able to exile his bridges and clear away some tokens. So it's likely that I might just go with 4 Furies, drop the Force of Negations, and keep the Force of Wills. Might drop a Gaze Cradle for a Petrified Field, since he's also playing Wastelands. And then I need to keep the Force of Vigors to hit his ley lines and hollow ones. And I need to keep Noxious. Okay. The Petrified Field is also good to get back additional Wastelands. So now, game 2 against Dredge. I have to Serum Powder this. There's no Bazaar and there's no Leyline. What is he exiling? One bridge is out, Surgical is out, so he's bringing Surgicals. Interesting. So Potter. So now I have a ley line, and I have an active Force of Will. I will keep this hand. So the reason behind why am I not digging for Bazaar? If he has an explosive hand, and I only have a Bazaar, I have no leyline or anything, I could dig further, but I'm just emptying my hand. So my choice usually on these matches is just to keep leyline hands. I also have a Force of Will to counter his Force of Vigor, and then hope to dig for something good. Because the leyline just stops his deck completely. So he has no leylines. Does have Bazaar. He's probably digging for a Force of Vigor now. He has already exiled one Force of Vigor. Oh, of course, he could play his hollow ones, right? So this I'm gonna have to force, unfortunately. Now would be good with a Wasteland. Oh, or a Bazaar. Thank you. That was a great draw. Oh, okay. Let's get a Vengevine in play. Might have a Surgical now, it's thinking. I have to say I was extremely lucky to get the Bazaar there off the top. Usually these games just drag on incredibly long because you are trying to find that bazaar and it never shows up. So he might also have a surgical now that he saved for a wasteland and my bazaar, and then I have no protection against it. Has a contagion. Okay, sure. So he exiled an accurate, so he has 3 cards in hand. It's going to go down to 2. He found his wasteland. Okay. Is he surgicaling it or... No. Okay, I'll play my petrified field. I'll just get the bazaar from there. And I'll attack with my Vengevine. So 1 card in hand. I'm not sure he has many outs here. I have a Force of Vigor for any hollow ones he plays. Okay, got a second wasteland. Sure. I'll just spin the wheels. I don't think there's a point protecting my bazaar at this point. I did get a Noxious Revival, which is fantastic. In this case, since I'm also taking the Noxious Revival, I'll just keep the Vengevine and just pitch these through. One could argue that you drop the Vengevine here just in case, you know, no, at this point, there's no point dropping the Vengevine. You just drop it when you're able to get it back into play. So I'm just gonna do this, go in the Vengevine, end of turn, he probably wastelands me, I just Noxious Revival. And this game is pretty much over. I don't think you can get out of this. His outs could be activate the bazaar on his upkeep and keep the wasteland, so that he could cast Hollow One for 1 mana. He has 2 Hollow Ones in the yard and 38 cards to dig. Sure. Just goes to Noxious Revival end of turn. Get all these guys up. Oh, I've got a bazaar. What a surprise. Okay, there's no point casting that. Pitching that. Attack with Vengevine. So it's in a very difficult position. Not sure what he has in hand, but I'm not sure this is winnable for him at all. No. With 3 life. So he had 1 of these. Okay. That was a win. So Pool 95, currently 0-2. I do not know what he's playing. So this is a very good hand. I just need to find a creature at the top. That is not a root baller. We have some sort of protection against him playing, or they playing 3 spells in a turn. Which is a bit of unlikely because I will play my Chalice now, 1-0. Let's start with the Bazaar and see where this takes us. So unfortunately, it didn't go our way. I do have a Force of Negation, so I'm definitely discarding the Squee, the Vengevine, and I think it's unlikely that I have to play the Mindbreak Trap. So I'm going to keep the Wasteland and keep the Walla for next turn. And just discard Master of Death, Squee, and Vengevine. And jam Chalice on 1-0. Okay. So nothing from the opponent. He was F6ing. Some sort of blue deck. Volcanic. Ragavan. Okay. I have a Walla to protect next turn. So he's playing the... Is it Delver variant? Deck. So this is another draw that I wanted to see. I do have a Fury though, so I'll be able to get my Root Wall down. So let's start by pitching the Serum Powder. I want the Blazing Root Wall and the Master of Death, and then I keep the 2 Wastelands. I pitch my Squee. I think that's for the Fury. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And I'll trigger the Vengevine. I'm gonna Wasteland them first, just to go around days. Hit him for 4. Okay. The Tundra. Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. Okay. So we won game 1. I just had to figure out his deck. I need to open it up here. Not exactly sure about all the cards they're playing. Ragavans. He has white mana. I don't think they play Sphinx. I don't think they play Sphinx. They might play Lavinia. So I'm just bringing in a Karaka just in case. The Chalice, since I'm on the play, is not so useful anymore, so that I'm going to trade those 2. And then I do not believe they're playing a lot of Wastelands. But I don't want to go down in too many green cards because of my Force of Vigors. Definitely Mindbreak Trap I could cut for Fury. And yeah, I'll cut 2 Mindbreak Traps for 2 Furies. Something like this. One could argue I could get down on one of the Gaze Cradle. The Wastelands are super nice because he's very greedy. Or they're very greedy on the mana base, right? So I think I'll just cut... No, let's keep one My Break Trap. Let's go like this and see how it goes. So I got a Bazaar and I got a Force of Negation on my opening hand, so I'm gonna keep this. He has a ley line, kind of slows me down a little bit. Does have ley line. Plays a Ragavan now or no? Okay, another Master of Death. Not exactly what I want to see with this hand. Oh, I have a Force of Vigor, fantastic. And another Bazaar. I do have the Noxious Revival to pitch to the Force of Vigor. So I'm definitely taking this while that Walla and one of the Force of Negations, I think. Then I'm protected against the hasted Ragavan, even if he gets rid of one of my creatures. I can crack his ley line and still have enough cards in hand next turn. Dread or Arcanist. Sure, okay. So this is a Dread or Arcanist deck as well. It's not this version I'm looking at. I'm just gonna Vigor that thing away. Let's see what I get. Spin the wheels. Another Force of Vigor. Which is not interesting anymore, I think. I'm just gonna throw these away. To go for the second Bazaar activation, I think. Then I got a Caracas and a Wasteland. I think I'll keep the Force of Negation up. So he's gonna play the value game with that Dread or Arcanist, and I haven't found a creature that can block him. No, but I do have 3 creatures though. Oh, here it is. He's probably playing Tabernacles. I think I found the deck here. Or similar. Swords to Plowshares now, it's gonna be very bad for me. So I'll just exile it. And I'm gonna activate my Bazaar once. Then get the Master of Death. Oh man, that Gaze Cradle would be nice. Get him to hand. Got another Blazing Root Walla. And I got a Hollowvine. So a Tabernacle here would be very bad for me. Unfortunately. He's mental misstepping. He has 1 card in hand. What's the chance he has that Tabernacle? Low chance. Okay, let's do the same drill. Do it, Bazaar. Now I got the Vengevine. Okay. Yeah, sure. Discard all that. At least if I draw something nice, I'll be able to get those 2 Vengevines out. Keep drawing lands. Might have a Force of Will in hand. Not sure. So this time I have a card in hand, so I'm not activating Bazaar on my upkeep. I'll just let the Master of Death come to my hand instead. Got 2 Master of Deaths. Let's get this engine going now. 3rd Bazaar. So, what kills me now? That's the question. And I think what kills me is Path of Negation or a Dech Faden or a Narset. And maybe 1 Tabernacle in his deck. So I'm just gonna protect myself with a Force of Negation. Keep attacking with the Hollowvine. And wait for the next turn. Got another land. I wonder if I should just activate my Bazaar now. And hope to get a few squeeze in the yard will be nice as well. Sure. Let's do that. I got a squeeze in the yard. This makes it much easier now to just start getting cards up, activating Bazaars, and hoping to get my Vengevines out. Alright, another squee. Definitely have that card engine going. Oh, nice. Let's just drop these 2 squeeze and see what comes out. Because I might kill him this turn. I won't kill him this turn. Okay. Let's just discard the 2 Master Deaths. I'll keep my Hollow one up. Because if he puts a Tabernacle, I don't want him to die, and I want my Vengevines to come from the yard. I have a Force of Will now to protect myself. Yes. Come to hand. Into hand. Yes. Okay. Now I have a mental misstep. I just need a second creature. Maybe I'll keep a Goblin Squee just in case I draw a Fury. There's the Fury. Okay. So I want to discard the Force of Vigor, Master of Death, Master of Death. I'll basically play my Hollowvine. If he counters, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And then I Fury. And 3 Vengevines grow from the graveyard. Alright. That was sweet. Okay. Miharu Fuyumiya is on this version of Oath of Druids, usually. So this is what I'm playing against, probably. Put it here to the side. So, it'd be nice with some counter magic, but I didn't need to find my Bazaar. So, this would be a fantastic hand if instead of the Serum Powder would be Bazaar. Unfortunately, the Powder. Now, this is a keep. So this is keep. I probably will be able to survive 1 Oath, especially if I keep my 2 forces up. I can pitch the Master of Death and the Vengevine and the Serum Powder and hold on with the Baskin Rootwalla for next turn, just in case I draw another creature. I also don't want to put out something that gives their Oath a way to trigger. Predan, sure. So I kept the second Master of Death just to have a Force of Will up, right? And if he plays Oath, I should be able to Force Invigorate as well. That was my reasoning behind keeping the other Master of Death. So I got a second Force of Will and a Squee. So at this time, since I have a second pitch, so I'm definitely dropping the Squee, 1 Master of Death. Now the question is, should I keep the Force just in case? Or should I just go with a Master of Death and keep 1 Force? Yeah, I think that's okay. So I can pitch the Force to the Force and then have a Force of Vigor. Do I ever need a second Noxious Revival? I will be getting a lot more cards to hand next turn, though. No, I'll just drop the Noxious Revival here now. And I'll probably pitch the Master of Death. Since I already have Squee and a Master of Death in the yard, and I only have 1 Bazaar active. Been whiffing a little bit on creatures to get the Vengevine out. He is now sculpting it, or they are now sculpting their hand. Okay. No lands, so maybe a wasteland would be nice as well. Now I can get my Vengevine out and I got a wasteland. Okay, so now the wallet is going down. I have the second Force of Vigor, so I should have kept the Noxious Revival. But I will drop the Squee and I'll drop a Master of Death, right? Then I'll just get him down. Their momentum is stepping, which is a good sign. I'm wastelanding that island. Oop. Pulling my Hollowvine and getting the Vengevine out. Okay. So Black Lotus, going for it. Blue. Okay, this is very strange. Ancestral Recall. Okay. You can have it. So now I'm gonna fight for this, obviously. They're gonna fight. You got an Oko out. Okay. I'll let it come down. And then, end of turn, Force of Vigor. Good. So now I can keep a Force of Will up. And I can see it. Okay, we're good. So, 2 Tabernacles, 3 Soul Guide Lantern, and 3 Ravenous Traps. So, their payoffs are Oko, 1 Grizzleband, and 1 Niv Mizzet. So, Caracas is coming in. Caracas is coming in. They are on 1 Gaius Blessing. Definitely not Fury or Fury. Not Fury. I'm on the draw, so not Chalice. I'm gonna clip this one in. I want the Gaius Cradle for Tabernacles. I want my Strip Mines. Do I want Snapbacks for those targets? Or do I want, for example, not Petrified Field, he's not wastelanding. Riftstone Portals might be interesting, although they have Soul Guide Lanterns and Ravenous Traps. Makes it very difficult to activate this. So I think I would bring in a Snapback instead. And drop a Noxious Revival for another Snapback. Yeah, let's try this. So I think this is quite a good hand. Be able to get a Vengevine, turn 2. Might play around Tabernacle by dropping the Wasteland. He's attacking probing me now. So he's going for it. Ancestral Recall. I don't think I should force this here, should I? Probably should. And just get my Bazaar going. So I gotta force the Vigor here, which is super nice, but I might be playing super wrong here. And I should be playing around Tabernacle. But that Ancestral on my upkeep, I'm not sure. Just got the vibes that they have nothing to play with, and they just kept an Ancestral Recall hand. But now I have a hand with 3 colors. And let's just... One hope there's no Oath now. There is an Oath now, okay. Do you have a Snapback? Maybe a Snapback, let's see. Oof, okay. Interesting. Okay, so Squee, Serum Powder, Blazing Rootwalla. Cast this. Unfortunately, I drew all the wrong cards now. Attack with everything. And then... So, my chance now is that I draw a blue card for Snapback. Which is likely, I think. And that's gonna be enough. I'll keep the Wasteland back for a Tabernacle. Oh, Archon of Cruelty. Okay. Okay. Spirit can go. So at this point, they'll be at 10 life. I think my best bet is the Snapback, so I'm just gonna take this out. Was not expecting the Archon. I was expecting a Grizzlebrand or a Niv-Mizzet. So they do have Ravenous Traps, Oko. Okay. Let's get this to hand. Chaos Cradle. Fit Bazaar, see what's coming out. So I got now the Snapback, but it's not enough to kill them. Not enough to kill them. Is it? It's not enough to kill them. So I wonder what I should do here. Probably attack, get them down to 7. I think this game is a bit lost now. So look. Ravenous Trap, Nature's Claim. I was not expecting that Nature's Claim, actually. Because now this puts me in a very difficult position. I have to attack. I have to snap back and hope that any life linker he has just goes to his hand. And then hope to draw 2 creatures. Oh, Ravenous Trap. Okay. Sure. I think that pretty much does it. No, definitely, I think that counter was not necessary. So, did they fail to find or what? Is this the only target? Okay. He has another one in hand, of course. Okay. So, guess that worked somehow. Interesting. Oh. Okay, I'll attack with everything. Not sure they were expecting that snapback. Do they have another target or no? Okay. Snap back. Snap back. Definitely. Okay, here we go for game 4 of the Hollowvine Tour of Vintage series test so far. 3-0. And see how it goes. Yeah, so no bazaar, no keep. Same thing here. First time I go down 6 cards. I have to go up to 5. Another powder. So I'm keeping the Vengevine and the Walla. Those are... And here I have maybe a turn 1 Vengevine. It's definitely a keep. Not too bad for a 5 card hand. Okay. So Vengevine, Root Walla. I might want to keep the Force of Will up. So I'll just drop the Wasteland here. Cast my Hollowvine. Yes. I'm not exactly sure what they are on, but I do recognize the screen name. Maybe shops or similar. So he's on a two turn clock now. If I get a blue card off the top, I'm keeping it, playing Wasteland. Strip mining me though. Okay. Soul Ring. Okay, so he's on shops. Phyrexian Revoker, sure. Sure. This start enables next turn Golos while still having a strip mine. So this is very dangerous now, right? So if I play my Wasteland, you can do Golos, get a Tabernacle, and basically strip mine my Wasteland. On the other hand, if he does try to play Golos, I could activate my Bazaar in response if he doesn't strip mine it first, and then try to dig for a blue card. Because there's no point playing the Wasteland now if he plays the shops, for example. But if he had a shop, he would only have 4 mana, right? Soul Ring 2 plus the shop. I don't know, this is difficult, right? This is difficult. Maybe I'll just try to activate the Bazaar and see what comes out of it. There's a blue card, then that's what I'm going to keep, because then I'll be able to protect myself. Oh, here's a blue card. And difficult. Okay. So he didn't have a Tabernacle in hand, so his out is to get a Golos in here. So I'm gonna keep my Force of Will, Force of Negation. And just get in there with everything. Interesting, no blocks. Okay. Here's the shops, and here's the Golos. Yips. As predicted. Sure. So now I'm pretty vulnerable to a second. But I mean, if he does have a second, he has a second. There's no way around it. So the Wasteland will not save me in that occasion, right? So he's now at 2 life. Another Golos would get fetching a Tabernacle would save him, obviously. No. Okay, that was it. That was the correct call. So shops, I have to bring all my complement of lands. The Fury doesn't really do much, so he's coming out. I'm on the draw. Chalice has a few targets, but it's not that important. I think I need the mana more. So 1, 2, 3. This does become a bit difficult. I might want to keep more Mind Break traps to protect myself against very early tax effects and drop 2 squeeze. It's probably more safe. way to do it. I could even bring surgical as well. To get rid of their wastelands in case they have Crucible of Worlds. Which is also one of their locks. So this is a discussion between bringing the third Mindbreak Trap, which is useful on his first turn, basically. I think I'm gonna... just keep the surgical in there. I'll be able to at least ensure myself against... So this hand folds to a number of things, but it has a Bazaar. I can't mulligan. Has a Bazaar, has a Wasteland, has a Hollowvine, 2 Bazaars even. Mishras, and can counter this Trinisphere. Okay. I guess that's it. That was very fast game of Vintage. Okay, so now I'm on the play. This becomes less important. Let's submit this. All right. I'd like to play first. Fortunately, this has no Bazaar. I have to powder it. Once again, this is a very... We can have to mulligan. And mulligan. And mulligan. And mulligan. And now I found a Bazaar. Keep 3 cards, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Kept the 7 card hand. It's impossible for me to win in this position now. So, against Chopped Threat. That's unfortunate. Sure. Sure. Oh, I got Avenge one. Okay. Sure. Keep going. Interesting. Okay. Riftstone Portal. Fantastic. Okay. Alright. Let's just keep going. I have no play even if I activate Bazaar. So... Crucible. Yeah, sure. It's very unfortunate. Alright. Okay. Mystic Forge, okay. Where's the Force of Vigors when I need them? Okay. Jet. Wasteland. What a waste. Yeah. Guess I don't get to play Magic now. Sure. What are you getting? Where's this saga? Sure. Yeah. What horrible draws I've been having. Yeah. So not much I can do here. I can discard the Master of Death, Mindbreak Trap, and the Vengevine, and then hope something good comes out of this. He's probably gonna wasteland my Bazaar, so there's not much I can do. Right. Active Forge. Exile the Wormcrawl Engine. Okay. What's coming? Source of Silence. Sure. No, this is a second card I need to force a figure. Okay. I have a clock now. He has a bigger clock. Or, no. Okay. You got it, man. You got it. Let's go for the final match of the Hollowvine Tour of Vintage series. So I have a Bazaar, I have a Force of Negation, couple of mana in the dial, and 2 creatures to pitch in case I draw a Vengevine. This is a keeper. Definitely a keeper. Okay. Playing, let's see if it's the mirror or if it's Dredge. This means that I'm definitely wastelanding on my turn. Okay, it's the mirror. They discarded Noxious Revival, which is super good for us. And they're down to 3 cards in hand. Yeah, I'll just fire up this Wasteland. Get rid of the Bazaar. This should leave them a little bit crippled, at least until they farm the second Bazaar. And I do have an Noxious Revival, which is fantastic. Yes, please. 1, 2. And I don't need the Mind Break Trap, I think. I'd rather keep the Force of Vigor and the Noxus Revival and the Strip Mine. Get rid of the Mind Break Trap. Getting there. Keep the Force of Vigor just in case opposing Hollowvines come down. That's what I'm gonna do, I think. Cast the Hollowvine. And pass a turn. Okay. I passed a turn. Got a Master of Death, so definitely I'm activating this. Be able to pitch Master of Death, Force of Vigor, and the Serum Powder. Give me a little bit of card advantage. I still have the Noxious Revival to get a Bazaar back. And they're dead in 3 turns, so not right now. So I want Master of Death. Come to my hand. Yes, please. I have a Chalice, which is pretty useless in this matchup. Second Master of Death. I think I'll be willing to just keep something. I'll put down a Strip Mine and attack. So that in 2. Our hand lined up very well against his, which is quite good. Now he is dead, I guess. So he's trying to force a Vigor. I'm going to try to force a Will. There. Do not need the Force Negation. Now he has a Force Negation. I'm gonna try to activate my Bazaar, see if I can draw a second Force. And I did draw a second Force. I'm gonna pitch the Force Negation. No, sorry. I'm gonna pitch Master of Death, Master of Death, and the Force of Vigor. And then I have so what am I targeting now? His Force of Vigor or the Force of Negation? I guess it's Force of Vigor. Okay, I guess that worked. You can pump. And they can go. Boop. Are you dead now? You're good. So this basically is a matchup where I want to bring my all my graveyard hate, take away the Chalice, take away Mindbreak Traps, bring in thanks. Petrified Field, bring in the Endurance. Furies, kind of useful as well. So I do like to play this and just go down all the way down in counters like that. Yes. And let's go. So yeah, the Furies are actually quite nice to just clear away opposing Hollowvine, for example, to get my Wallace through while activating also Vengevine, so I do like to bring it in. Some Hollowvine players like to keep more counters. But I do feel that counters become dead draws very often. Like now, I don't really need these counters, so I'm getting rid of them. So what is he exiling? 2 Hollowvines are gone. A Noxious Revival and 1 Walla. Okay. Okay. Powder. So Leyline, Surgical, Force of Will. This hand has a big problem. I don't like to keep this type of hands against specifically Hollowvine. If it was Dredge, okay, because it does have a lot of resilience. But I don't even have for example, a Wasteland to go with a Surgical. And it just needs a lot of things to win this hand. This, though, is a better hand. I can keep a Force of Will in case he drops down now a Hollowvine. So then I need my Master of Death. And then is likely I want to keep my Force of Vigor up, or not really actually. I might just ship the Squee and the Force of Vigor and wing on the 2 Wallace. Oh, okay, that was it. Only 1 card. I thought I mulled twice. So that's even better. Good thing I clicked on the Squee first. Well, it doesn't have a Leyline. Okay. Is it a powerful hand? No. It is a powerful engine hand, though. Okay, I do have an endurance, though. Let's see what do we get out of the top. Oh, horrible. Okay, Serum Powder. Blazing Root Walla. I think in this case, right? I'm not really doing endurance here now, I think. I want to keep my Force of Will. I'm going to keep my Force of Vigor. Definitely don't need these 2 cards, so I just have to put one of these Wallas out. And then ideally he whiffs again. And then I'm able to next turn get Vengevine in play. But I wouldn't count too much on it. Especially not with a Squee and Master of Death on the yard. Okay. So, okay. Ghost Quarter. Sure thing. Yeah, why not? Let's do that. So, I'm tempted to just endurance here. I only have a Root Walla. I think I have 2 endurance just to get him off his card draw engine. Then I keep a Force of Will up. If he counters this, he counters this. There's no counter. Okay. I'm not confident this was the correct play, or if I should just wait until he has a Vengevine in play. But at least now he'll be in card disadvantage, so... with a Bazaar. But I'm in a very difficult position. Okay. Petrified Field. Okay. Alright. So, the game is still on. Vengevine. Not what I want to see. This probably means that if I draw Bazaar, I can get things out. They have now a Vengevine in the yard also. Still 7 cards in hand with a Bazaar. Go down to 4. Might be able to just take the Vengevine out now. And I have no way of getting back from this game. So there's no way you're mulligan to get a ley line in this matchup. He's whiffing again. Okay, interesting. Okay, Hollowvine. Yeah. Can't let that happen. Wasteland. Oh, nice. He has a petrified field though. He has a petrified field though. Oh, I guess he has to use it. Just attack. Let's do this. Well, this also means that he is not getting one of his wasteland effects into play there. Well, doesn't matter because I don't have Bazaar. He kept his Force of Negations. That's a good good to know. So I'm not really fighting over those anything. It was interesting that I had Force of Will comes here. He has Leyline as well. It's probably gonna go to game 3. This is how I'm looking at it. Especially if he gets a hollow one here now. He has 2 hollow ones exiled. It would be incredibly unlikely to get one now. Oh man, this is not what I want to see. Interesting, not blocking. Okay, screw up. This is why I didn't block. Okay. Still got a damage in. What is coming? The other wasteland, the Force of Vigor. Case Cradle. Okay, this is still winnable, I guess. Come on, come on. Bazaar? Force of Vigor. Okay. Might kill his one Hollowvine he has left on his deck. Oh, now my strategy is a Bazaar or just fill my hand until I can start discarding the Master Death and then a couple of Vengevines. It's gonna take a lot of turns. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Got his Wasteland. And of course, now we can do. He has enough mana for the Walla. This puts me in a losing position. This point. Come on, come on, come on. Oh. Alright. I probably should keep that Blazing and roll it back. Although come on, I just need a Bazaar. Bazaar only got a Vengevine in play, right? Okay, Blazing Rootwalla now. And he got a Master of Death, okay? Sure. Need a Bazaar Hollowvine. Oh, and a Vengevine. Okay. So this now means that I really need a Bazaar off the top. So I can get rid of that Hollowvine. It's his fourth Hollowvine, huh? Had quite good hands. I don't know. Okay, he took a lot of turns to get to this situation. I'm keeping my two Wallace so that I can at least put a Vengevine down. It's coming now. Fury. Okay. Okay. A Fury is actually not bad here, right? I mean, I have to make time. So I will kill the Vengevine and the Basking Rootwalla. And I keep the Blazing back for defense. Okay. That was a decent draw. Right, but now we're still waiting for more Bazaars. So he has all his Hollowvines are out, and he has two Master Deaths down and was squeezed down. Basking Rootwallas, he has still 3. He has 3 Blazing Rootwallas, and he has 3 Vengevines in his deck. So he's likely to find them, especially the Master of Death now working over time. So he got Squee, Master, and a second Bazaar. That's a good draw for him. Churning to his deck. It's quite interesting because... Okay, he got the second Vengevine and Bazaar Baghdad. Yeah, sure, I'll just try it here. Okay, Bazaar, Bazaar. Okay, Bazaar. But now I kind of discarded everything I needed to get my Vengevine out, unfortunately. Sure. sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. That was a fantastic draw. So now he basically has 1 turn to get back, or he's dead. Would have been nice with his queen in the yard, then my fury is up. But, you know. So now, in this position I would activate the Bazaar, probably. No, 2 cards up to hand. Maybe not. He has no more hollow ones, but he has Root Wallace. And he has 2 Vengevines in the yard, which can leave for blocking. And then I have to find a red card. Okay. Did he whiff? You're probably saving Walla in his hand. It's very unlikely that he wouldn't find 2 Root Wallace now, right? So few cards in this deck. There's 1. That was 1 Walla. Okay. Okay. So a red card wins me the game. Gaius Cradle also wins me the game. Yes, thank you. Yes. That was the second time a Gaius Cradle won me the game. There. I think there's much you can do with 1 card in hand. Yes. Okay. So that was a 4-1. Quite nice. Destroying their card. I think he was a bit upset. Okay. That was a 4-1 with Hollowvine. I'll just get the deck up here again. In my opinion, this deck is super fun to play. Is very resilient now with having 8 Wallas basically to pitch and 8 squeeze. It means if you don't stop at the graveyard, eventually you're just gonna drown the opponent in card advantage and win through that. As mentioned, is very vulnerable on not finding a Bazaar, and that's the deck, by far the deck's greatest weakness. Therefore, there's 4 Serum Powders in the main, etc. Out of here, the tech choices of having 3 Mindbreak Trap, 4 Vigors, and a Fury main deck, plus a Chalice, right? So this is kind of, apart from the Counterspell suite, right? These choices, I still think they're good now in the format. At some point I've played 3 Force of Vigors, 1 on the side, and then I had 2 Furies main. But as I mentioned, pitching Squeeze does not feel very good. Pitching Wallace does not feel good either. So I think it's still the best setup for this deck. The Gaius Cradles obviously were fantastic in the last match, so I still would like to keep that. Snapback has won as a game. Of course, it was a very special circumstance, of course, but it was a very good play against the Oath player. I think we were very lucky against both Bazaar players in both our draws. I mean, I'm not downplaying that we did the right place, probably. That endurance in the end, in hindsight, was a good play because it made it so that my opponent was having card disadvantage as he's activating Bazaar. Then Riftstone Portal didn't really come into play, but might have been interesting against this Shops player if they didn't have the relic in play, meaning that they could have exiled my graveyard. I would probably just have jammed basically a Bazaar, pitching the Riftstone Portal and trying to get something to play, and then I would be at least being able to pay the tax on one of my creatures. And then, you know, Leyline, Surgical, just the standard. I think it's fine. So this deck is incredibly fun to play, but incredibly, it basically sucks if you have to mulligan very low. And as long as you're willing to accept that, then I would say that this is a good choice for the meta now. We haven't found a bug player. Those matches are actually very difficult also for us. They have the Deathrite Shaman is a bit difficult to beat if it resolves and it starts eating away our graveyard. Yeah, that was it for today. And yeah, catch next time for the next Tour of Vintage, next deck. I still have to decide what I'm playing next, but probably I'll take Shops. Give it a go. Either Ravager Shops or Golus Shops, like the opponent we faced. And I will publish this video to YouTube, just have to get my setup together. And then thank you for watching.